Have you ever heard of a woman who built an empire in the shadows, a place where the rich and powerful came to play, and where secrets were the most valuable currency? Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of Polly Adler, a woman who rose from a humble immigrant background to become one of the most influential and notorious figures in New York City during the Roaring '20s and beyond. This isn't just a story about parties and glamour. It's a story about power, survival, and the woman who held the keys to the city's hidden world. Born in a small village in what is now Belarus, Polly Adler's early life was marked by poverty. At just 13 years old, she was sent to America, supposedly for a better education. But when she arrived, she found herself abandoned, with no family and no money, working in a corset factory for pennies. It was a harsh start, but Polly had something special, a sharp mind and an unbreakable will to survive. She quickly realized that the American dream wasn't going to be handed to her on a silver platter. She would have to build it herself, by any means necessary. So, how did a young factory girl transform into the Madam of Manhattan? It started small. Polly was resourceful. She saw opportunities where others saw dead ends. She began by arranging dates for her friends and acquaintances, connecting people and taking a small cut. She was a natural networker. She understood people's desires, and more importantly, she understood the value of discretion. Her reputation grew. People trusted her. She wasn't just providing a service. She was creating a safe, exclusive space. As Prohibition hit New York in 1920, the city was thirsty for entertainment, and Polly Adler was ready to quench that thirst. This was her moment. The speakeasies were booming, and with them, an entire underground economy. Polly's operations evolved from simple arrangements to full-blown, high-class establishments. These weren't dingy back-alley joints. We're talking about lavish apartments in the most fashionable parts of town, decorated with fine art, stocked with the best illegal liquor, and staffed with the most beautiful and intelligent women. Her places became legendary. They were more than just houses of ill repute. They were the unofficial clubhouses for the city's elite. On any given night, you might find mobsters like Dutch Schultz and Lucky Luciano rubbing shoulders with famous writers, Broadway stars, politicians, and Wall Street tycoons. It was a melting pot of power, where deals were made, alliances were forged, and secrets were shared. Polly was at the center of it all, not just as a hostess, but as a confidante and a power broker. She knew everyone's secrets, and in a city built on reputation, that knowledge was power. Think about the sheer audacity of it. At a time when women had only just gained the right to vote, Polly Adler was running a multi-million-dollar enterprise, commanding the respect and fear of some of the most dangerous men in the country. She wasn't just a participant in this world. She was a leader. She navigated the treacherous waters of gangland politics with incredible skill. She paid off the police, made deals with the mob, and always stayed one step ahead of the law. She was arrested numerous times, but she always managed to bounce back, often with a witty remark for the reporters who followed her every move. Her establishments were a reflection of her own personality, sophisticated, smart, and always entertaining. She insisted on a certain standard. The women who worked for her were well-read and could carry a conversation on any topic, from politics to literature. The atmosphere was one of a high society salon, not a sordid den. Polly understood that her clients weren't just looking for a good time. They were looking for an escape, a place where they could drop their public personas and be themselves, without judgment. And she provided that for a price. But it wasn't all champagne and jazz. Running this empire was a constant high-wire act. The threat of raids, rival gangs, and betrayal was ever present. Polly had to be tougher and smarter than everyone around her. She famously said, "My business was a business of loneliness." She was surrounded by people, yet she operated in a world of profound isolation. She couldn't afford to have close friends, because anyone could be an informant. She built a fortress around herself, not just of wealth, but of carefully guarded secrets. One of the most fascinating aspects of Polly's story is her relationship with the law. She was a known criminal, yet she was also an indispensable part of the city's fabric. She had judges, politicians, and police captains on her payroll. When famed prosecutor Thomas Dewey launched his crusade against organized crime in the 1930s, Polly was one of his primary targets. The Vice Queen, the papers called her. The legal battles that ensued were epic, a cat-and-mouse game played out in the headlines. She was a symbol of the very corruption Dewey was trying to eradicate. Despite the constant legal pressure, Polly managed to operate for over 2 decades. Her name became synonymous with the high life and the underworld of New York. She was a celebrity in her own right. When she finally decided to retire in the 1940s, she didn't just fade away. She did something completely unexpected. She wrote a memoir, A House is Not a Home. The book was a sensation, a bestseller that shocked and fascinated the public. It was her final, brilliant move. She took control of her own narrative, telling her story on her own terms. The book wasn't just a scandalous tell-all. It was a sharp, witty, and surprisingly poignant look at her life and the society she served. She exposed the hypocrisy of the powerful men who publicly condemned her while secretly being her best customers. She wrote about the loneliness, the fear, and the difficult choices she had to make. It was a raw and honest account that humanized her, transforming her from a caricature of a madam into a complex and compelling woman. The book was so popular, it was even turned into a Hollywood movie. After retiring, Polly moved to California and pursued a college education, something she had dreamed of since she was a little girl in that factory. She earned a degree and lived out the rest of her life quietly, a world away from the chaotic empire she had built. She had finally made her house a home. Polly Adler's story is a powerful reminder of how ambition, intelligence, and sheer grit can change a person's destiny. She was a criminal, yes, but she was also a pioneer, a businesswoman, and a survivor who played a dangerous game and won. She built an empire in a man's world, using the tools she had, and became a legend in the process. She wasn't just a footnote in the history of New York's underworld. She was a central character, a queen in her own secret kingdom. What do you think? Was Polly Adler a ruthless criminal or a brilliant businesswoman who beat the system at its own game? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden history of New York, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.